Welcome everyone to session 22. Session 22
What is up,
of
people?
Heroes of Absalom, a modified version of Pathfinder 2nd Edition's very own Agents of Edgewatch adventure path. Brought to you by none other than 3 Kobolds Gaming. And to start off, I wanted to share some really exciting news.
What's the news?
Thanks to all of you who continue to watch us and hang out with us and listen to us be fools on the internet. We are now affiliates of Twitch. What this means is that my already streaming challenged mind has to cope with many more things relating to our Twitch channel. So, you know, I do apologize if you get the ads. I know it's annoying, but it does help us out. It helps pay for a lot of the things that, eventually will pay for a lot of the things that we put our own personal money into to hopefully provide you with some enjoyable content. But what that does mean is that in the coming weeks, we'll be getting together some fun little things for you all in chat. So things like emotes, roles in chat, little emblems that you can get next to your name when you do throw stuff in the chat and interact with each other. We're going to be trying to figure out some cool things to throw in there. And there's also a subscribe button, which does, again, contribute, as I mentioned, to everything that will go into that. The subscription, by the way, is what will give you like the emotes and the special roles and all of that. Speaking of which, if you happen to have, I mean, you might not, but if you happen to have a Twitch Prime account or an Amazon Prime account, you can go ahead and use that for a free subscription to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. Oh man, it's we're getting there. This is session 22. How are you all feeling?
22. I'm now thinking about what some emotes should be, and the first one I thought was we need one of Bastro either throwing some hands or using his crowbar. One of the two.
Yeah, or
one of the
what
two.
about the brass ear though? You can't.
Oh,
The brass ear.
I think that the Bastro box emote set is going to be our first package. We should do a bunch of Bastros and just make that our first one, and then we can go down the line for characters. I think that's it. That's
I love
it.
Yeah.
That's
So, as I mentioned, and if you have ideas, definitely throw them in the chat for fun little artwork that could
let
be
us know.
turned into emotes. Many of you who watch us know us personally, so send us a message, please, if you think of anything that would be cool or fun that you would like to see. Because, again, these rewards and things that we're going to be doing are for your enjoyment, so let us know what you'll enjoy. We are fortunate enough to have a very talented artist on our team who is skilled in this one right here. Skilled in
Ben!
digital
Wow.
art.
Wow,
who
Ben!
can-
Oh my God!
who can make all of your dreams a reality when it comes to
If
to
I'm the
artwork.
artist on this team, we are tanking fast.
You're gonna make so many good emotes though. It's gonna be really fun.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be really good.
Wait, Dan's paint should be like.
Oh my God.
Have we talked about those on stream before?
I don't know if we have. I don't know if
Subscribe
we
to
have.
our Twitter account and our Instagram account to see some awesome
amazing artwork.
artwork
What
by
I
our
imagine-
very own
Concept
artwork by our
art.
very
Concept
own
art,
Daniel.
High level.
Yeah.
Just-
Really,
Um,
like Louvre quality character art, in my opinion.
Oh my god.
But on the real,
My
thank you all
cat's
so
winning.
much for all of the support that you have shown us so far. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, sincerely.
And we're hoping that now that we've hit this goal, we've got a couple others in mind to continue, growing a channel where we can all just enjoy some role-playing games and tell some stories and have some fun. So with that being said, let me torture my players real quick as we jump into session 22.
I'm nervous, man. Last
We're
session
the
was
House of
such a weird.
No, last
encounter.
time was good. Last time was really good.
It was so amazing. I loved it, but like I have no
Kashak
clue
was
where this is gonna
anxious.
go. Kashak is nervy, dude. He is.
Oh wait, are we talking about the actual
Toes
game?
was swooning.
Yeah, like the event.
I thought we were talking about Will's alliteration intros.
I haven't even gotten there yet. What do you
No,
mean?
none of those are good in my opinion. They're all.
No, last time's was really good.
I don't remember.
Well-
Well, I think everything you say is amazing.
Oh, stop it.
Regardless of my players' opinions of me, we
Fine,
return
hero.
to our preposterous party of pesky prognathi as they continue to investigate the inhabitants of the House of the
I'm
Plains.
done. Goodbye.
Having rested and recovered from their battle against various Darkland denizens, the diseases which those denizens bore, they also find themselves now in the House of the Plains proper. The main hall of the club has been appropriately themed after the outer plane known as the Boneyard.
The Boneyard.
The Boneyard, where mortal souls are sorted into their respective afterlives post-mortem. Here, in the club, they meet with a faux Pharasma, who introduces them to the club and judges them to where she thinks might be the most appropriate planes for them to visit. As they look around, they notice that there are a variety of rooms that branch off from this main hall. And as they are judged, this Pharasman figure guides them into their respective afterlives. She also seemed, however, to read the group as seeking information, and informed them that many powerful figures hold court in each of the rooms or planes, and would most likely be willing to speak with them if they defeated each room's specific challenge. Though the place was meant only as a trendy-themed club, whatever form of imitation that seemed to be in place did have a metaphysical consequence on this space, as the Doctor was shown a worrying vision of a mysterious woman who claims that the Doctor is running out of time to return something that he had stolen from her.
Right.
Will,
Yeah,
do
the
you mind if I
Doctor's
jump
in
in
a
here?
bad mental place.
Do you mind if I jump in here really quickly?
Yes, but go ahead.
Does anyone else feel a little bit unnerved by how quickly she realized that we are searching for information?
Yes, but I don't know if that is like a game mechanic to just get us moving in here quickly, or if that will be consequential down the road.
It definitely doesn't make me feel good, right? Like,
Well,
it can only make me feel nervous.
Unfortunately,
people
we
know
are
about
in
the
a
House of
game
Flame.
with skill checks. So if anyone has any skills to speak of, they might be able to figure out what's going on. As the Doctor's vision fades, the group's judgment is completed, and they are left to explore the club at their heart's content, or discontent, as the case may be. And I do want to jump in here and just say that for those of you who are unfamiliar with Pathfinder, there are going to be references to various planes of existence. These are similar, you might think of them as like different worlds almost, but they are like metaphysical planes of existence that coincide around the material plane, or Earth, or Galarian, however you might speak of it. And I just wanted to say that as a work of fiction, it does draw very heavily from real world religion and concepts, and so you might hear some
Mythology and
references to different places. Just cast aside any like, you know, real world connotations, because the places that will most likely be talked about have a very different conceptualization in this universe. So just wanted to put that out there. Keep that in mind. We'll be talking about like heaven, hell. Don't get too caught up on the traditional concepts that you might have of those.
And as always, Will and I, or anybody else, will do our best to provide the information that's necessary to people who are not familiar with the world, that won't kind of like spoil what might be going on, like any kind of background in the universe that may be necessary. Yeah.
But you all are left standing in front of Pharasma's throne in the center of this grand hall. Once again, the music feels less like physical instruments that you're hearing, and more of this like almost like the music is playing in your mind as you entered this space, this otherworldly, ethereal kind of melody, and this heavy beat kind of get you into this feel of this dark club. The main hall here is essentially a massive rectangle of sorts, with these 4 archways on either long side of this rectangle. And as you kind of glance or gaze, goodness gracious, around the room, you see that each one has like different colorations to the ambient lights. There are these like strange runes carved above, each room having a different language represented, or at least different seeming symbols representing what you would assume to be the names of the rooms. All of the servers around you, again, dressed in these skeletal bodysuits, as they walk about serving and taking orders, but not a word is uttered by these wait staff. Dr. Forsyth, I believe you visited the bar briefly, where you encountered the bartenders at the main bar of this club. dressed in this dark, macabre black leather, hooded with these strange, elongated plague doctor masks, blank glass bulb eyes. What are the rest of you doing now that you have been so-called judged to your various planes? What do you all do?
Does everyone remember their plane that they were judged at, or two?
Yeah,
I
I've
guess?
got mine.
Yeah,
I believe mine was Nirvana, right?
Mine was Elysium, the battlefield, like the warrior's death place.
Mine
But I
was-
remember not wanting to go there alone. What was Twinkle Toes? Was she Heaven?
I think she was having.
You got those flipped. Kashak was Heaven. Twinkle Toes was Elysium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
My steel trap of a memory is working.
Now, did Pharasma say that she had a trial for her room as well?
There is a trial. If you take a look
Eight.
around,
it's the one where you get buried alive.
Buried, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
that's right.
there
yes,
is-
Yes.
a few feet behind, from your perspective, behind Pharasma's throne, you see a large stone coffin with 4 skeletal waitstaff or servers, or in this case, assistants, standing about with shovels and a large pile of loose gravel and dirt next to each of them, with a smaller but still macabre throne made of a coffin and a gravestone, upon which seats a figure that you all are familiar with. You would know her to be none other than Layla Skandrabar,
That's right.
who watches as some random person, looks to be a half-elf man, takes a chug of ale before laying down, and the shovels begin piling dirt into the coffin. After 3, 4, 5 seconds even, doesn't make it long, before you just watch him shoot up, out, screaming, sputtering, and coughing out dirt and dust as Layla just cackles in the chair next to him. He kind of dusts himself off, trying to regain some semblance of composure, before he dejectedly walks on past.
So a question for the party, out of character. Is this I don't really feel like we should be splitting up here to like individually go to our own places.
Yeah, and
I mean,
Kashak
what are
that
people's
last
thoughts
time.
on that?
I don't
Right?
want to
Yeah,
either.
we talked about that a little bit last game. Yeah,
I think we did. Yeah.
Around together to
We'll all go together, yeah.
And Kashak even expressed it to Pharasma. He was like, "Is it okay if I don't go to Heaven? Can I go to Elysium with Twinkle Toes?"
Essentially, the feeling that you got was that it doesn't really matter. That was like a part of the
Her doing
theme
her
bar,
thing.
that's
right?
the
The theme of the club.
That's just the gimmick.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she's like reading you, trying to guess what your interests are and where you might like have the most fun in the club, and
Yeah.
telling you which room might be up your alley. She could be right, she could be wrong, but she's just giving you some sort of guidance as to what you might want to try.
I don't much want to split up, but also like, I kind of want to split up.
Maybe like 2 and 2. Maybe like.
We can do that.
We could do
Yeah.
I
two
would say
and
maybe
two.
we can maybe pair off. Pair off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All
So
right.
what are your pairings?
Let's put a healer with each person.
Okay, fine.
Agreed.
Good idea. Twinkle
Agreed.
Toes, we've partnered up before. I think we should do it again.
Fastro and Twinkle Toes, let's go.
All right, Doc, you and me. The Doc and the Croc.
Is the doctor taking over the
I
bar right now?
love that.
Downing his drink right now after seeing that
The,
horrible
the,
vision.
the doctor is straight up not having a good time. He is
Like straight up not having a good time.
yeah, he is sitting at the bar like staring into a mostly empty drink, like not fully present.
I think that
Do we
Kashak would
notice
even-
this, or is he like hiding it? Like,
I mean, he's not hiding it at all. He is not fully present.
I think there's no way Kashak doesn't pick up on that. Maybe puts like a clawed hand on your shoulder as this like Pharasma conversation is going on, and then when we start kind of discussing as a group where we're gonna go, when we discuss pairing off, I think Kashak would offer his, offer to go with the doctor to whichever plane he wanted to go to. So you got access.
Alright.
Okay? You're going to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the doctor got Axis, Bastro got
Nirvana.
Nirvana,
Yeah.
Twinkletoes Elysium, and Kashak Heaven.
Dr. Forsyth, I'm perfectly happy to go with. Sorry, I'm perfectly happy to go with you to this room of Axis. I'm afraid I'm not very familiar with Axis itself, but I'll defend you. I'll follow you in there.
Will, could I roll like a society or religion, whichever, or maybe a cult, whatever it would be, to see what the doctor knows about Axis?
Interesting.
Probably
Actually,
a cult, right? With planes.
Yeah, I'm trying to like. I keep thinking in first edition.
Yeah, roll me a knowledge
Yeah.
planes.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go with wouldn't be deception. Cultism,
No way, it's not a
maybe?
cultism.
Magical item, or is it religion? It might be religion, actually.
Oh yeah. Okay, so occultism
Its
is
category is outer sphere planes.
Mm-hmm.
that is not occultism.
Yeah, it's religion. So the outer sphere is religion, theology.
Okay. Religion check. Starting off with a natty 19 for a 26.
Nice.
26, and you're looking at Axis, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
If
So,
I remember correctly, because I think it's like all about law, right?
yeah. So Axis would be the lawful neutral in alignment terms, outer plane. It is the sphere that is dedicated to universal law, unmarred by the struggles between good and evil. Axis is an ever-expansive city that has these rings that just grow on and out and out and out for the entirety of this plane of existence. Very orderly, very controlled, very like everything has a purpose and a design. Everything to create this kind of harmony and order. You would realize, you would know a decent amount about it. It's very, it's inhabited by a race known as the Proteans, are the like natural denizens of that area, but it is also, being one of the planes that mortals are sent to in the afterlife, there are also the various spawn of mortal souls that end up there. It's
I mean, that's
Yeah.
enough. I was
yeah,
just
that's
get,
yeah,
like a cursory
yeah.
knowledge about it. So yeah, he turns back to Kashak and is just like, "Yes, Kashak, please. I want to get out of this section of the club as fast as possible." And he's like darting his eyes around like the whole time, like periodically looking back at Pharasma, like seeing if she is looking at him or not. He's not okay.
Yeah.
Twinkletoes, seeing how on edge Dr. Forsyth is gonna scoot up to him and be like, "Hey, do we want to split up, or do you want us all to stick together? You look like you're having a bit of a rough time."
I want to get out of the
Let's go
boneyard.
to Axis.
as
Let's go
fast
to
as
Axis.
possible.
Let's go.
All of us?
Let's go.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we should all
The
start.
doctor
off.
starts. I like that idea.
Okay,
the
yeah,
doctor, I
let's
think
do that.
if I remember, it was the first room on the left,
It is the last room on the left.
last room on the left.
Yes.
Yeah. So the doctor will go as quick as his normal human legs will take him to Axis.
Yeah, so you kind of
He's just floating 2 inches above.
you dart in and out between like the haphazardly placed sarcophagi that are being used as tables. A trail of rippling mist behind you, the room being covered in a thin layer of this gloomy mist. And you get to the last room, all the way on the left, the room closest to the entrance of the club on that side, the you turn the corner into this archway and see that all of the tables in this room are perfectly square, and they're situated in a neat grid. You see a variety of copper wiring that runs in these geometric patterns, these large circles and squares, triangles, all different sorts of interlinked geometric patterns run across the wall in copper wiring, but they also run up along the ceiling and link together these tiny glass bulbs, again, all across the wall and the ceiling, that kind of flash and glow at odd intervals. On the far wall, behind all of the tables, is a large chalkboard on which you see what appears to be, at first glance, a riddle that is written in large, perfect block letters.
All right.
On the right side of the room is a small bar, only about 6 feet long, but you notice that there is a dwarven woman who is currently manning the bar. Not many patrons seem to have wandered into this particular region of the club. You notice maybe 1 or 2 other various persons seated at the tables.
So it's pretty empty.
It's pretty sparse in this portion. So the woman at the bar, the dwarf, notices you very easily. Says, "Welcome. Welcome to Axis. And what may I be serving you today?"
You have a coffee?
No, unfortunately, this is, well, I don't have a kettle.
Give me your strongest, cheapest drink, please.
So it's just as rare as I thought it was.
Of course. Of course. Wanting only the strongest, cheapest drink, of course. She, like, ducks under the bar, squats a bit, comes back up with a clear liquid in a small shot glass that she places on the table.
How much is it?
Well, that depends. Are you planning on paying with money?
What is the other
What
option?
else you
Yes, what's
taking?
the other option?
Well, if you solve the riddle there, your drinks can be free. At
What
least
does
in
the riddle say?
this room.
Can I read it?
Sure.
I would like a mulled wine on my riddle tab, please, then.
The wall has like a riddle of the day scrawled at the top. And it says, you need to transport an inevitable, a protean, and a mortal to Pharasma's spire. But your magic plane shifting ring will let you take only 1 passenger at a time.
Classic, I hate that.
If at any point you leave the inevitable and the protean together unchaperoned, they'll kill each other.
Oh, okay.
But if you leave the protean and the mortal together, the protean will corrupt them. How do you get all 3 to the spire safely?
What is this? It's the
It's the wolf and
The
sheep.
the wolf and the sheep, right? Yeah.
It's the fox and the chicken. Fox and the chicken.
I think they're both. Like, I think the wolf and the sheep is like a version of the fox and the chicken. I've heard fox and the
It's
chicken.
probably
for
all
sure.
the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
I
isn't this?
I know the answer. Does anyone else want to try that?
Yeah, you just take the protein across first. Yeah. And
Well, no, if you leave the inevitable and it's if you leave the inevitable in the protean and the mortal in the protean, right? There was no interaction with the inevitable and the human.
Right, which is why you take the protein first. Oh, but then when you leave them on the other side. Oh yeah, so does this involve you take one across and then another across and then pick up the other one and bring it back? Isn't it something
Yep.
like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you know which is which, though?
You would take the protean first, then the inevitable, and then you swap them.
And
So
then
then
you
you
take
carry-
the protean back with you.
Back,
Yep.
and then pick up the mortal and then fly
Leave
back.
the Protean.
Because then you have the Protean and the inevitable at that point. Or no, you have the mortal and the inevitable on the good side, and the Protean left alone for your last trip. You're right. The way you said it was correct.
So Dr. Forsyth kind of does this mental reasoning with Twinkletoes and Kashak's input, and eventually gets the answer correct.
Nice.
You see a twinkle come across the dwarf woman's eye, and she says,
And Chairman Hoff appears.
"No.
Well done. You solved my riddle.
You now have access to any magical item in the DMG."
Any piece of information you want.
Ask one question. No. She
You are now granted a wish.
She you see this twinkle in her eyes. She smiles and holds her hand out to Dr. Forsyth and says, "Willifred Stoneborough, it's a pleasure to meet an intellectual."
Yes, charmed as well. I am Dr. Xavier Forsyth. This is a significantly better part of the House of Plains than the entranceway, I must say.
Well, I can't much speak for the Boneyard, but I do enjoy a good logic puzzle every now and then.
Yes, Willifritz, we much appreciate the drinks here as he starts sipping his mulled wine that I'm assuming she poured.
Yes.
We are looking for some well, let's say entertainment. Are there any people of notable repute here in Axis currently that you could point us towards? I know that it's currently sparsely packed, but is there anybody you would point us to speak to who is enjoying these logic puzzles as well?
Of notable repute, well, I can't much speak for them, and she points to the two other people in the room who are like, one of them is passed out, the other one is like, doing the wobbles.
Oh,
Sick.
Nice to know that Pharasma suggested the doctor go to the outcast portion of the club.
The really boring trivia bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Zoinks.
It's less the fact that it's like the outcast bar, and more the fact that this is the place to test your wit, and you're in a seedy underground bar,
No, nobody wants to
and
do that.
they're there for other pleasures, one might say.
You know what this strikes me as? This is when you're going out in a big city. This is where you all meet up at the fancy cocktail bar. You go to the craft place before you go to the place where you get
Hammered.
$5 vodka shots.
Yeah.
That's what this reminds me of.
But she says, but I would consider myself relatively interested in these logic puzzles.
Oh, okay. Do tell. What is your story, Willifritz?
Well, I am, you could call me a real estate agent, if that's what you'd like.
Hmm.
My friends and I, we make a lot of money off of, dubious legal claims to certain, ruined estates in the Precipice Quarters since the siege, but that is neither here nor there. What brings you all to Axis and the House of the Plains? You don't seem like the normal type to frequent this place.
No, well, we are power brokers, maybe you might say. We each have our own set of skills that we have come to know from each other, and are curious about other players who may meet our similar goals.
Well, if you're looking to meet others in this place, you came to the right place, but I will say that you should be careful not to step on any toes. There are many niches to fill in this city, but many of them have been filled already. Just be careful. I wouldn't want to find you in a ditch somewhere.
Was that a thunder sound effect, or was that?
Yeah, was
That
lightning
was
I saw?
out my
Real
window.
thunder. Oh
Yeah,
my
I saw the flash, and I was like, "What is Will doing?"
That
on
was
his
so
desk?
loud.
Wow, cool.
That timing, though.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so she's a real estate broker. Okay, so
I wonder if she's.
I don't know.
A specifically shady real estate broker.
Wait,
everyone
so
here is gonna be shady.
I have a
Where-
question. Was that riddle the challenge?
You would guess that yes, it was probably the challenge.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it was too easy for the great mind of Bastro Beltorin.
Wow, Dan.
Goodness
Was that
gracious.
So I think that aren't we here to ask about? We're like here to ask
What were
about
the
people
things?
asking about real estate, right? Like they were talking about rent costs and like cost of living and places they were staying.
That
Wouldn't
was one of
a-
the things.
Wouldn't a
Well-
shady real estate broker maybe have information about that?
That is very specific. You were here to ask about missing people.
Yeah, the missing
Yeah.
people was
But-
our goal here.
If there is a portion of that that you'd like to ask her, that she might have knowledge
Yeah, one
of.
of the,
Yeah.
my point is one of the reasons we know Germanhoff's name is because of an interaction with. Aren't the people who were asking about that stuff missing? Or am I
Right, but they were
misremembering?
apparently specifically speaking to German Hoff.
Wait, the people at what?
Some of them
I-
in
I-
Cayenne. One of the reasons that we know Germanhoff's name is because some of them in Cayenne who are now missing were inquiring about living arrangements while they were trying to build the Dragonfly Pagoda. They were like,
Oh,
we
right,
we
that was
hate
what-
where
yeah.
we live.
With-
Let's
yeah.
talk to German about it. And possibly a shady real estate broker might have information about what German did or what German would do, or maybe she was even the person who arranged it. I don't know. My point is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is interesting to me based on
Yeah,
what
no,
we know
that,
about
I
Me
was
as
thinking
well.
about the Dragonfly Pagoda here too, but
Mhm.
I think the doctor might just like coyly say, "Ah, yes, a real estate broker. We recently interacted with the Dragonfly Pagoda. Was that possibly any of your work?"
No, the Dragonfly Pagoda, unfortunately, was a bit above my pay grade even. That came as a land grant specifically from the government. Being an international deal, it's hard for a local businesswoman to get her hands on it.
Well, here's to rising above your rank then one day. And the doctor will like cheers to her. I don't really know what else to say here then. I think the doctor will like look around.
I'm sorry, I'm so curious. With your real estate dealings, what sort of situations like would put you in the situation of having to deal with those empty homes? Like,
Well, there were many properties whose owners left prior to making arrangements for the in their wills for the passing on of their properties. Maybe deeds to various places that went missing during the siege. I don't know. It just so happens that I'm very good at finding documents that might aid in the reallocation of these
Okay.
places
Cool.
A Hufflepuff.
to
Nice.
their rightful owners.
Hufflepuff.
really good finders, yeah.
Hufflepuffs are particularly fun. Miss Willifred, please, if this is a perhaps rude question, I do apologize, but it sounds as though your station is above serving drinks in a small corner of a party. Your day job seems more illustrious than your night job seems to be. Is there a reason for this? Why are you tasked with serving drinks inside Axis?
Oh, I don't work here. I was just helping myself to the bar.
Wait, really? Oh, that's
Except
great.
no one works here. No one's like serving drinks.
Well, I guess that makes sense if this is the lawful neutral section of.
You're not gonna steal. Yeah.
I guess.
Well,
yeah.
well, we solved the riddle, so we get our drinks for free. That's what. That's what
Does
Bastard
she know
thinks.
that?
I mean, that's what she said.
Did she make that up?
Oh, she was gonna charge you because you thought she was the bartender.
Yeah. That's really funny. That's really funny.
Okay, so she doesn't work there. Okay.
I'm just passing some time, seeing if anyone else is quick or clever enough to understand what's on the wall there.
Oh, I like you.
Thank you, I like me too.
Willifred, forgive me if this question may sound odd, but you
Oh,
mentioned...
enough of the pretenses. You all are beating around the bush. What do you want to know?
Okay, well, Willifred, you mentioned not ending up in a ditch, and we have heard something about people going missing around the city. Is that for any particular reason that these people are going missing, or have these people stepped on too many toes?
Well, I don't know much about people going missing. It isn't really... Well, I'm not the one who makes them disappear at the very least. But, well, who knows? With the influx of all of these tourists and everything that's going on around with the festival, can't imagine that there aren't some who are taking advantage of the opportunity.
Could I roll a sense motive on that? See if that was as truthful, like if that was truthful.
What's your perception modifier?
+9. +9.
+9. It seems like she really doesn't like deal with wet work or like the actual offing of people or disappearance of people.
She's part of the cleanup crew.
It's more like it's pretty clear that she just like makes
The paperwork.
illegal paperwork to insert it as real paperwork and is made. That's what she does to make her money. Like,
anything we have dealt with it.
But like when she says, "I don't deal with that," you know, you see very like clear glances at some of the other rooms. Like there are definitely people here that that might do that. She says, but I'm sure there are also predators amongst the rabble. Who knows what people are doing with all of this lack in oversight that comes with such a large crowd and such an underfunded guard.
Couldn't agree more, Willifred. Well, perhaps... Oh, yes, go ahead, Jacob.
I was just going to say that I was quite excited to visit the room that I was assigned, so, I was wondering if, it was lovely to meet you, but I want to go see my room. I want to go see
Yes.
Singletoes is bored.
Let's go check out Elysium, yes.
Do we have any other questions for her at all? I
Should we
think
ask her about German
I think
Hall?
we exhausted everything. Yeah.
I don't know if we want to name drop Jermenhoff in here.
No.
Dr. Forsyth, go ahead and roll me a diplomacy real quick.
Oh, that's not great.
And take a +4 from having completed the challenge successfully.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
That's an 18 total.
18 total. She says, but if you are worried about potentially going missing, I know of a nice place to stay. I actually just sold it to a fellow recently. An inn by the name of the Dreaming Palace that I sold to some Pratchett was his name, I believe. So, if you're worried about security, that place was, well, it was a good investment on my part. Very solid inn.
It's a secure place to stay.
Yes, I can't imagine anyone being able to break in and well, I'm sure somebody here could, but can't imagine it being too. It's a nice place. Its
Where is it
owner
located?
seemed to be very peculiar about finding a property that was secure. Yes.
Pratchett was the person who purchased it?
Something like that. Pratchett. I can't. It was a month ago or so.
That name doesn't mean anything to us, does it?
I don't think so.
And did Bastro ask where it is? Like what?
Yeah,
it's
what part of
located?
Absalom is it in?
Oh, it's in the Precipice Corridor.
Okay.
Okay.
That could be interesting.
All right, yeah, we'll check it out
Yeah.
eventually.
All right, that's something.
Especially because Kashak is now homeless.
And so is the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
No, we have our like apartment. Remember?
Oh, that's right. We did.
We
like
do
rent
have
out
an
a-
apartment,
Wait,
but if
has
we
Kish-
ever
wait.
if it's ever compromised, we have this other place.
Right. Has
Yeah.
Kashak visited the apartment yet?
No.
'Cause I know we
I don't-
stayed
I
at
don't
Desmond's
think he
place.
has.
Yeah.
Kashak's never seen it. No.
Well, we need.
Because we met, we went to
the.
the tunnels, we slept at Desmond's,
Yeah.
and yeah, now we're back in the tunnels again.
Yeah.
Did we sign a year lease, or like, are we month to month, or like, what's up with that? Can we break that?
It's month to month for sure.
Okay, alright, good.
Especially with the festival going on right now, they jacked the prices way up.
Yeah, I don't think we'd sign a 12-month lease, it'd be pretty silly of us.
It would be.
It'd be pretty silly of the
Uh,
proprietors.
Will, I want to spend, like maybe as we're transitioning rooms, if we're about to do that, I want to spend 1 minute swapping out one of my Pursua leads.
Okay.
And I want to transition one of them to the Dreaming Palace.
Okay.
What are your leads now?
One, I can have two active. My first one is Missing People, and my second one is Dreaming Palace now.
Cool.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
And remind me, what bonuses does that give you for anything
It just
regarding
gives
your leads?
a +1 to any role that is like related to that.
Okay.
And
So
also,
theoretically, it could be like a diplomacy about asking questions about those leads.
yeah, it could like a diplomacy about asking questions about those leads. It could be like a society.
Perception, if
like,
you're looking for.
yeah, exactly. And I have
Very
a
cool.
reaction called Clue In, where if someone else is asking about one of those things, I can like really quickly like nudge them or whisper something to them, and they get whatever bonuses I have.
And when does that bonus increase? Just curious.
I actually don't know, but maybe if we leveled up, I could find out.
Oh, well,
Nah.
there's your problem.
Lol.
Which room, as you all say goodbye to Willifred, she toasts and you watch as she grabs another bottle out from under the bar, sets herself a glass, and pours it.
She's
Um,
just like drinking by herself, like writing
Just-
logic puzzles.
Just stealing.
Incredible.
Uh, which of the rooms were you all headed to next?
Think of
I think
Elysium.
I think Elysium.
Do we all want to still before we leave? Do we all want to still stick together, or are we? Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
All right, Elysium.
We're gonna go Elysium and then Nirvana. Do we want to go Nirvana Heaven? Ending at Heaven sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't know. Ending in Nirvana sounds
Yeah, ending in
pretty
Nirvana.
cool.
Neither one's a bad option, but I'm saying like ending at Heaven.
Let's go to Elysium and see how we feel.
Yeah.
It is apt that you chose Elysium, as it is the next room over from where you're at. Any of you who know the alignment chart might see where this is going. Elysium, you turn the corner, you make a right out of Axis, and then an immediate right again at the next archway. You see a similarly sized room. These side rooms are about like 40 by 40 versus the 120 by 60 that the main hall is. I don't know if those actually add up, but don't worry about it. You turn the corner, they don't, but that's besides the point. You turn the corner to see murals across all three walls of this room. Murals of impossibly high mountains and endless forests that cover the walls here, while marble sculptures of winged snake women curl around pillars in the corners
Nice.
of each room. On one side of the room, a live griffin is chained to an artificial nest, glaring at patrons and snapping at tossed scraps, while waitstaff, dressed as Callistrian clergy, maintain a careful distance. You see
Cool.
a number of people here. There's almost like a semicircle of tables that are posted around the griffin, and every few minutes it seems like, or every few seconds it seems like somebody works up the courage to walk up to the nest of the griffin. Next to the griffin is another dwarf, a male, with much darker skin. It seems to be very, very tanned, especially for a dwarf, who are usually creatures of subterranean nature. This exceptionally tanned, almost leathery dwarf is standing next to the griffin, and you hear him give these like quick commands as the patrons walk up. And as one gets about 5 feet away, you hear like a quick grunt in a language that I don't believe any of you are familiar with.
Wait, what language is it?
Is
what
it
languages do you
Uruxi?
know?
Let me hold on. I know a lot.
Bastard, that's
I
not how
know-
that works, bud.
I know Elven, Dwarven.
What language
Draconic,
is it? I don't
Halfling,
know.
Common, Celestial, Abyssal, Jotun, Undercommon, and Sylvan.
Nope.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's gotta be some weird animal language. Yeah.
I speak a few too. I speak common and halfling.
Okay.
It is neither
Now we're
common
getting
nor
somewhere.
halfling.
Is it Necrol?
It is not Necrol.
And it's not Iruxi, which is the language of the lizard folk. It's not a lizard folk language? Okay.
Correct.
Interesting.
A quick grunt in a language you are unfamiliar with, and the griffin opens its mouth.
And a jet of fire comes out.
The dwarf motions towards the griffin, and the man slowly approaches and sticks his head ever so gently in between the beak of this griffin. After about 3 seconds, you see the beak crunch down on the side of the head, not decapitating him, but you hear the scream of the man as his head is now clutched in the griffin's mouth. Another quick command from the dwarf beside it, and the griffin seems to refuse at first, but a quick whip from the dwarf opens the griffin's jaw, and the man runs back to his table. His friends at the table laugh at him. One of them throws a cup filled with beer in it at him. The bar just or this room just kind of like erupts in laughs and jeers. What would you all like to do?
That's a challenge.
Twinkletoes
That.
strolls up. Does,
Okay. The dwarf
is there
man
anybody other than the dwarven man next to the griffin who looks sort of,
directly
like,
next
in
to the
charge?
griffin? No. Everyone besides the dwarf is like dozens of feet away from it. The griffin does not look to be exceptionally happy that it is here, but it seems to not have any choice with the dwarf. Anyone else you see like a waiter, again dressed in these Callistrian robes, so very like monk-like, very plain, like brown linens, rope sashes, like walking with these trays of your standard like flagon of ale around. One gets like a little bit too close, and you see the griffin like nip out, grabbing like the sash around his waist, pulls it off, and the robes just start flying everywhere as he runs away. Again, a crowd goes wild, cheering. But you approach, and the man looks at you and actually, go ahead and roll me I'll just call it a straight wisdom check.
And while she's walking up to the griffin, I think that Kashak would approach the guy who just did it.
Is there a bar?
There is a bar.
So
The doctor is at the bar.
wisdom check.
Yeah, just
That's
add
all.
your wisdom modifier to your roll.
And can Bastro roll to recall or to
14.
know if he can recognize the language that was being spoken? Would that be
I
like society or something?
I think it's the thing.
believe.
Because recognizing the language and speaking it are obviously two different things.
Oh,
I think it's society.
I think
as,
it is.
As y'all
Go ahead and
figure
roll
this
society.
out, I think as Twinkletoes strolls up and before the doctor just goes straight for the bar, he's gonna say like, well, Twinkletoes, this is I think more challenging. Good luck.
I rolled a
That's
natural
it.
one, so I think he's speaking
Oh, yeah.
common, right?
Entirely unfamiliar.
Yeah, I'm going
As-
to the bar with the doctor.
Twinkle what'd you get on that roll?
14.
14. That is enough to recognize the man, but not remember the name. This person was another one of the patrons that you all saw at the Royal Rumble.
He was in the box.
He was in the box. You don't remember his name.
Okay.
Do I remember what team he was affiliated with?
No. You just recognize him. You don't remember any of the details. You're like, I know I saw you up there. I can't place your name, anything else
Yeah,
about you.
your face familiar.
Yeah. Like, he's a very, like, for a dwarf, he definitely stands out. Again, this, like, very, very darkened, tanned skin.
Yeah.
Like, he's just been out in the sun his entire life. Completely shaved head. He's got, like, scars running along the side of his bald head, down the sides of his arms. You see a couple of tattoos that you hadn't previously noticed. Go ahead and roll society on the tattoos.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the only one close enough to notice them right now.
It's just gonna be a 13.
13. Yeah, unfortunately not quite recognizing the tattoos, but they're in this strange, almost pictographic font. They look like it would be a script that's like written down across his chest and down his arm, as if he had like a quote or something. But it's not like traditional words. It's almost like pictograms that are written down the side of his arm and like across his left pec and like down his left arm. You're not quite sure. You're not really able to place it. But he sees you approach. You break this semicircle of tables and he says, "Ah, lass, are you ready to test your bravery?"
Well, I'm not quite sure what's going on. Could you walk me through it really quick? I saw the man put his head in the mouth, but like...
Ah, yes. Well, there's not much going on outside of that, really. Are you brave enough, and are you friend of the wild?
Am I a friend of the wild? I mean, I really enjoy animals. I don't know how much they enjoy me, but...
One
am I
way to find
brave?
out.
Absolutely.
And he points
yes,
to the griffin's beak.
Let's try this.
All right, you hear
yeah,
the
I'm
same.
gonna go up.
You hear the same command as you're approaching. The griffin's beak opens up wide. You smell the stink of its breath.
I'm gonna bow and not make eye contact, like I learned from
HP 3, baby.
Ah, yes, Cluckcheek quite enjoys civility.
Cluck cheek.
Cluck cheek.
I'm putting Cluck cheek in the allies section of my character sheet.
Does Cluck Cheek bow back? Am I
No.
allowed to approach?
Absolutely
Okay.
Cluckcheek is far too bitter to be here right now.
Okay, but
Cluck
his mouth
cheek,
is
you
open.
wily bitch.
I cautiously, meaning like not like I'm scared of it, but like I'm not gonna startle it. No sudden movements. I calmly approach and lower my head in a bow into the beak.
I'd like you to go ahead and roll me a nature check.
A nature check. Okay. Natural 19.
Hey,
For a total of
19.
nice.
that +0 coming in handy. You put your head down, kind of almost has to be like sideways due to the hook on the top portion of the beak.
Mm-hmm.
And you see
I bow and then turn and insert.
and you see now that as you do so, the dwarven man kind of like flicks his wrist, and there's what do you call those? The little like it's got the sand. I can't think of the name of it.
Watch.
No.
Watch.
Bracelet.
Like when you're timing something in a board game and you flip it and it's got the sand.
Hourglass.
Stopwatch.
Hourglass.
Hourglass.
Oh my
Hourglass.
gosh.
Not your glass. Not my glass.
Hourglass.
Oh,
Hourglass.
that was painful.
Yes.
That was really painful. You
I
wanna
apologize to literally everybody.
Literally the nature of existence. I apologize for that.
And he's got like a small hourglass that's like strapped to his bracer. And you're like turning your head so that you're looking straight at it. You watch the sand tick down. You feel the beak like almost twitching around your head. You feel the breath as it wafts across the side of your face. But the hourglass eventually runs out. You hear like almost like a gong sound from the back of the room, and he says, "You've succeeded." The crowd just goes wild. Everybody's like cheering. Drinks are being sloshed in the air. The sound again disturbs. You feel like the beak move once again, like almost clamping down on your head as it like kind of twitches. Maybe the top jaw like clipping the top of your cheek. But you're able to remove your head without being clamped upon.
All
He
right.
says,
Fabulous.
Nicely done.
Lass, what is your name? You're the first one in hours who's been able to actually calm Cluckcheek enough
Well,
not
thank
to
you very
bite
much.
their
Just call
heads
me
off.
Z. Just call me Z.
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 Well, suppose everyone here has a story, and I'd like to hear yours. And he like throws a like a muzzle on the griffin, and walks the griffin again chained to this like artificial like prop nest, and then after throwing the muzzle around, walks down into the crowd to a table that has been apparently set aside. There's nobody sitting there, and motions for you to sit beside him. Come, have a drink, and he like motions, and one of the wait staff like walks over, and two beers are like set down at the table. Z.
Yes, it's wonderful to meet
What brings you to Elysium?
Well, Pharasma said this place would be quite suited to me. But other than that, you know, I just am so intrigued by all of the people here. I just want to sink in the secrets, you know.
Well, there's plenty to be said, plenty to hear.
And what was your name? I don't believe we've met before.
I am Amaset Nez. And he like gives a little bow to you.
We've heard that name before.
You have, because he was one of the patrons.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Knowing the name now, do I know? Or sorry, I'll leave.
I am what you might call a procurement specialist of sorts. Whatever you might need, I can find it, regardless of its rarity, legal status, or current ownership.
My goodness, that is very impressive. So I assume that procuring Cluckcheek was your doing then?
It was, in fact, yes.
My goodness.
See, Jeremy, well, he decided that the last person who occupied Elysium, their challenge just wasn't quite interesting enough, and he asked me to come up with something special. So I did. I found Cluckcheek, far off in the Varisian mountains. Brought him here myself. Many months' journey with this bastard of a chicken. Got him back, got him down here. You couldn't imagine how hard it is to smuggle a literal griffin into Absalom. I mean, goodness gracious, it was a chore.
I believe you, sir. How long has this position been yours then, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, well, kind of only. I mean, I'd say about a year and a half now, but I mean, I'm not full time. I still procure items occasionally. I just haven't needed to go on many longer journeys recently. No, it's been pretty calm.
The way
recently,
you
actually.
spoke about it, I wasn't sure if it was like, oh, you've been here a week, or if you've been, but no, a year and a half. Wonderful.
Well, I mean, the position, it's not really a position,
It's
right?
not a position, it's just sort of a volunteer type.
Well, it's like while
gig.
we're here, we're allowed to run the show of the room, basically. But, well, I happen to be here. I happen to be drinking. It's not a good time for many of us to be going out and about in Absalom right now. So, figured I might as well be here and drink a little bit.
Well, why is that?
Have you not heard about the whole thing with the copper hand?
No. What?
Right.
I mean, I heard about that there was a thing at Princess Puddle's Rumble, but
Right.
That's all I know.
That's the one. That's the one. Where she about blew half of our heads off, and well, they've kind of disappeared, but we don't really know much about whatever's going on with them. I just decided to lay low a little bit while we figure things out. You know.
Oh, goodness. Is that the only thing? I heard there's also been people going missing.
Go ahead and roll me a diplomacy.
Okay.
Get a +4 from the fact that you successfully completed the challenge.
Nice. Ooh. +4, you said? That's gonna be a 26.
26.
Yo.
That is, in fact, a success.
I'd be concerned if it wasn't.
On the, so he says, disappearing. No, I'm not really sure about what might be causing people to go missing. It could be any number of things. The Copper Hand has been, well, like I mentioned, they've been acting up recently, but they seem to have dropped off the face of the earth, or the face of Galarian. Going missing. No. You know what? Now that I think about it, there are lots of things, a lot of monsters and beasties that live in and under the Isle of Kortos. You would know the Isle of Kortos to be the island that Absalom is built on. This small island in the inner sea on which Absalom was founded. There's a number of beasts and monsters under and on the island of Kortos. Maybe some people are going where they shouldn't, trying to seek out maybe, I don't know, glory, riches, treasures, anything from Absalom's history. Maybe they ran into some vile monsters. You know, it reminds me. I actually did the same thing recently. Managed to hit up a cave system a couple miles out of Absalom. I procured quite the specimen. A live ochre jelly that I managed to... And again, you wouldn't believe customs in Absalom. It is absurd. A live ochre jelly for this guy named Hendrid. Works at the Dreaming Palace. Said he had kind of some system, whatever, that he was going to use the jelly to dispose of garbage and sewage.
My goodness.
I didn't ask anything else. I didn't want to know anything else, but gods, that was a fun one.
You said the Dreaming Palace?
Yeah, it's some kind of inn or something. He's he just started up.
Is Hendrid the owner, or does he just work there?
I don't know. I didn't ask. He just said he's got some kind of system that he wants to set up at the Dreaming Palace. Get rid of the garbage and the sewage.
Just reached here. By the way.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Wow. I'm sorry. I just got totally distracted by ADHD. Just like complete like shiny object.
The doctor at the bar in the meantime, Will, is collecting on the 20 gold bet he made with the bartender about whether or not Twinkle Toes would succeed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and double the amount of gold I have really quick.
Roll me a diplomacy.
Oh dear, I shouldn't have said anything.
Actually, roll me an intimidate.
Oh, that's
Intimidate.
much worse. Okay, intimidate. That's a 12.
12. The barkeep dressed as a Calistrian clergy, so he's got like, you know, the dude is ripped, like, you know, 30-inch biceps, massive pecs that are peeking out under the brown linen robes.
Calistria, by the way, is the goddess of lust.
Like pulls out a copper coin, right, as you're trying to like collect on your debt. Pulls out a copper coin, holds it up, looks at it, and then flicks it at your forehead, and you take 1 point of non-lethal damage as the thing slams into your forehead, kind of like jarring you really quickly, and drops to the floor, or drops to the bar where he picks it up again. And he says,
So you don't even get to keep it.
I think we're even.
I rolled a 27 reflex save, so I dodge out of the way, and it goes flying and hits Cluckbeak, who then mauls the monk.
Cheek.
Cluck cheek.
Cheek.
Excuse me.
Not to. There are no copyright infringements here. Yeah, no. It hits you square in the forehead.
Okay.
Hurts quite a bit, as this large man just flicked a coin at you.
And the doctor goes, yes, thank you, my good man. Thank you. Yes. Another drink, and he'll put his own money on the table and push it towards the guy.
You watch as he counts each individual coin in painstaking agony before
Good
finally pouring glut, 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 and then like dumping a quarter of it out as he tosses it across to you.
Oh my gosh.
All right, the doctor starts drinking it.
Bastard's gonna like put his hand on the doctor's shoulder and be like, "Remember that whole thing about not stepping on people's toes in here? Let's try to keep that to that, huh? We don't need any enemies right now."
Forgive me. I suppose I'm trying to distract myself from the literal worst day of my life I've had in the last 24 hours.
Well, you managed to solve the riddle.
Dr.
Something,
Forsyth,
right?
you've had a drink at every single bar so far. I would like you to roll me a fortitude save.
Yeah, no, the doctor. I'm
Doctor.
apparently going to get drunk. The doctor is going to get drunk because he is not having a good time. Fortitude, you said?
Yep.
All right. Thankfully, it's a good roll, but it's a 22.
22? All right. So far, you're unaffected.
Okay.
The experience that you had, the adrenaline rush from it, still kind of coursing through your system. You've been doing your damnedest to try to counteract that. Still hasn't kicked in yet. Twinkle Toes, you notice
Yes.
that Amaset kind of looks up again. He sees that there's like a small line beginning to form. He said, well,
Back at it. It was
gotta
lovely
make
to
sure
meet you, Jonathan.
Cluck Cheek doesn't kill anyone else today, and walks back up to the nest, where he begins once more presiding over the ceremony.
All right, I go back over to my friends, and I fill them in on everything that I learned. And
So
I
he
go,
mentioned-
and hear about this. He mentioned the dreaming palace again. That's two things. That's two times
Two.
we've heard about the dreaming palace tonight.
That's interesting.
That definitely
I
stands
think-
out.
You know, I'm not an investigator, but Dr. Forsyth, I think maybe you should start to maybe like follow a lead on this or something. Like it might be.
I think I'll swashbuckle my way into some information.
I wanted to stop now.
Dr. Forsyth's like, what? Follow who? Oh my god.
He's not drunk yet.
Not yet.
Can confirm via actual rules.
Look you dead in the eyes and just knocks
I
it.
turn to Kashak and I say, "Heaven time."
Ooh, I think I can get excited about some heaven.
Let's go to heaven.
Wait, I don't think I'm going to. Oh, you mean the? Sorry. Yes. Let's go.
Is there a stairway there, or
Ah,
Kashak pulls out an acoustic guitar.
there's a lady who knows, at
Okay.
least.
You walk out. You take a right again, as you are now walking the long side of the northern wall. You go past the door to your right, which appears to be, in small letters in common, is written Nirvana, towards heaven, the first door on that side, the first archway on that side.
oh, Nirvana's the next room. Should we go Nirvana Heaven?
Should we just drop in right now into Nirvana?
Might
That's
as
a
well.
good question. Yeah,
Either way, Bastro doesn't matter much to me.
Yeah, let's be it.
let's do it. Okay, Nirvana it is.
You all are about to pass by when Bastro kind of like turns his head, and Twinkletoes and Kashak notice and say, "Should we just go in?" You're like, "Yeah, might as well. We're here."
Quick 5-minute in and out Nirvana, we'll go to heaven after. One drink.
You turn in and you see that the walls of this room are painted in roiling hills, pastoral forests, and floating temples. The tables, bar, and seats in the room are mostly carved to look like tree stumps and other natural phenomena,
Cool.
save for a raised stone dais in the center, which has a squared off surface inset with lit torches. You see that the bar that I mentioned, which appears to be a felled tree that is lying across the back quarter of the room, is adjacent. There is a small, like, almost like a bridge made of mud or dirt and stones that goes over this felled tree straight up onto the raised dais. As the bartender walks from behind the log to meet a challenger on the dais. You see both of them square up, looking at each other, kind of getting ready, like, you know, shaking out their arms, hopping on one foot then the other, as none other than Cass Hamish sits next to the dais,
I know that name.
sipping on a glass of wine.
Another of the people at the Rumble.
Yeah,
Another one of the
sponsor.
patrons.
Another sponsor.
She
Do
was
we
one.
remember who for?
She was one that you all had more information on, unlike Amaset Nez.
Yeah.
She was one that you had more information on, so you recognize her very vividly because she has a very distinct appearance. She has very pale skin. She is obviously human, but very pale skin, shaved head. She is the leader, or at least a member, of the Garrote Sisterhood,
Right. Okay.
a group of female assassins. All-female assassin organization. Known for, specifically, killing their victims with garrotes. Very
Yeah,
fun.
the piano wire on the neck, gals.
Yeah, exactly. She sits there, smiling, laughing, having it up as she sips a glass of wine. You see that she lifts a handkerchief up in the air and then drops it. The minute it hits the floor, you see both the bartender and the challenger start wrestling on top of this raised stone dais. Again, inlaid with torches. The bartender manages to get a good double-legged takedown, lift the human up, and slam him onto the ground straight over one of the lit torches that are inlaid into the dais. You hear the scream and begin to smell burnt flesh. As he taps out, you watch the bartender release the man roll off. You see all along his back this gnarly, boiling burn. As the bartender calmly walks back to his station and begins taking orders from the patrons once more.
So we were going to heaven, right? Let's go there now.
What? You didn't want to do that, Bastro?
Bastard's a little scared. Let's go back to the riddles.
Yeah, I know. The doctor's like, dang, Axis was apparently the best
Axis
place.
was tight.
By the way, the doctor is in line to get a drink already.
A bit of a line has built up since the bartender was busy, but after another 45 seconds, this guy is quick. Just shooting out the drinks, getting it all together. You're able to get up there. Go ahead and roll me another fortitude save as you're presented with another drink of your choice. I'd also like you to go ahead and roll or mark off 2.5 silver for the cumulative cost of your drinks.
Oh, okay. Cool.
This place is a pretty nice club, so these drinks are not cheap, and you personally only succeeded in one challenge. So
Right. There's only a 14.
only a 14. Still feel all right.
Okay.
Your next one is going to be at a -2 if you were to take that chance.
Okay.
I guess Bastar's gonna.
What is everyone else doing?
Yeah, Bastar's gonna walk up to what was her name again? Cassie.
Cass
Ask Hamish.
Hamish.
Hamish. Yeah.
You
Bastard will
walk
walk up to her and just say, I'm here to challenge your bartender over there. I suppose.
She kind of laughs. And if any of you have ever watched the animated Clone Wars series, she looks exactly like Ventress Asajj.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Wait. The bartender does.
No,
Oh,
Cass.
Cass.
Cass
Okay,
does.
yeah.
That's pretty spooky.
She looks exactly like Ventress. Let me
Is
see
this
if I
like-
can actually.
Skinny, pale, bald chick.
Yeah. Super white.
I think I actually have the.
Pale.
Where is it? NPC, like actual picture of her for you. Creatures and NPCs, named NPCs. Oh, I don't. That's so sad. But yeah, just imagine Asajj. And if you don't know who that is, look it up. Because it's a spitting image. It's crazy. The art in the book, I was like, this is just her.
Is this copyright?
This is not copyright. At least not our problem for a copyright. And she looks at you, kind of smiles, and says, "Do we have another challenger?"
Yes, my name is Bastro, and I want a challenge. I'm looking
Bastro.
for a challenge.
Well, all you need to do to challenge our good man is step up on the dais.
Bastro's gonna look at the really burly man that's about to wrestle.
This guy is
And
like
he-
shirtless. You see like a number of old burn scars on him, still doing this. He's just like vigorously shaking a shaker. Like you hear the ice from across the room as he's just throwing this thing around. Pours it out, flipping like a bottle, doing tricks and stuff. He sees, as he's doing this, he
The
watches
doctor
you.
said yes. Thank you.
He watches you approach the dais as he's serving drinks. And the minute you step up, pours the last drink, puts everything down, and begins once more walking over the rocky dirt bridge that is made over the felled tree of a bar, directly up and onto the dais. Once more, Cass lifts up the handkerchief and drops it. And the second it hits the ground, I'd like you to roll something. Now. Firstly, I need you to roll initiative.
What a long pause. Okay, I'm so scared.
There are multiple steps to this process.
Okay, that's actually pretty decent. I think I got
we're back in the fallen angel territory here.
yeah,
I think
wish-
so too.
Honestly, when you introduced yourself as Bastro, I was like, ooh, brave.
What was your total?
Feeling something.
18.
18?
Yeah.
All right, you're going to go first. In order to grapple,
Nice.
I need you to roll me an athletics check.
Yeah, good thing I have a +0 in that skill.
I had a +0 in nature. You got this. Just roll a natty 19.
Natural 20. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
What? First a natural 1 and then a natural 20? That's insane. What a roller coaster. But yeah, 20. Wow.
Okay. All right, okay.
I'm gonna get like a dice cam. I feel like you don't believe me.
I'm awestruck.
I am the same way.
Awestruck.
That's the luckiest roll I've ever had.
Okay. So you manage to kind of get control of one of his arms, wrap your leg around his, and then throw him over your hip onto the ground over one of the torches.
Jeez.
It is now his turn. He's going to attempt to break your grapple. So this is against your Fortitude DC.
Okay. Let's pull that.
It is going to be a 15 against your Fortitude DC.
Hits it exactly.
Hits it exactly. So he's able to roll out from under you. He's then going to attempt to grapple you.
That's not gonna be hard. That's against my athletics DC, right?
Yep. And he
Yeah.
rolled a 12. So you are now both standing up once more. It is your turn. You may attempt to grapple him.
Okay, let's see what happens. That's a natural 14. So just a
Natural 14. Fortunately, a natural 14 is not quite gonna do it.
Bigger.
In order to win, by the way, you need to successfully grapple and then pin your opponent.
Okay, I see.
2 successes.
Yep. So you are like dancing around these torches that are lit below you. And once more, he goes in for a takedown, trying to grab you by the waist. Natural 9. It's not going to do it. So, once more, he goes in, trying to sweep out both of your legs this time, but you're able to kind of dodge to the side. Go ahead and roll in athletics to try to pin him.
He's lucky we're not boxing right now. It'd be a different story. A 12. That hits it, right? Because a 14 didn't.
It's absurd just how close all of these rolls have been. We'll take another shot on you. 21.
Yeah,
So he's
I'll
gonna
do
get
it.
you down. This time he reaches in under and grabs the bottom of one of your ankles, pulling it out from under you. You fall back onto your back, and he jumps on top of you. Go ahead and roll an athletics to try to escape.
If you're shocked this whole time, it's just
Can't
like,
I also roll acrobatics as well? Or
You
is it
can.
only a...
Yes.
Okay, great, because my acrobatics is nuts.
Kashak is just screaming Schlitz's report for Bastro, just chanting and hollering and hooping and trying to be louder than anyone else cheering for the bartender. Or anything.
Does a 19 get me out of it?
A 19 doesn't get you out of it.
What?
Wow.
He's gonna roll one more time to try to pin you over one of these torches.
And Astro, this is Fortitude DC, not Athletics DC.
Is it? I thought it was
Yes.
athletics.
No, grapple is against your Fortitude DC. It's an athletics check.
Oh, okay, I
against your
see. All right.
DC.
Well,
Correct.
Let's see what he rolls.
It was a natural 20.
Oh no!
It was meant to be.
So he picks your ankle out from under you. You land flat on your back on top of one of the torches, and before you're able to roll, he jumps on top of you, this hulk of a man, wrapping his arm under your neck, one up, pulling your leg up, and you are like pretzeled with your back square on the torch, and your back and skin
On
begin
fire.
to burn.
Yeah.
I need you to go ahead and roll me a will save.
Okay.
For the level of embarrassment you're experiencing right now.
It's not a good roll.
I think whether he screamed or
Uh,
not.
16.
Weakness.
16. Okay, so you are under intense pain as this happens. You take 9 points of fire damage,
Oh,
Whoa!
what?
but you hear a bell ding as the man gets off from you. You are able to keep your composure and maintain some face. The bout was good. People are like cheering. Nobody's like, dissing you or dishonoring you. People are just, they were happy to see a really good fight.
The best knot was the 7-foot lizard turning him on.
Yeah. Cass, you look over, gives you a little nod, gives you, a little golf clap. But you see her motion with a bottle of wine towards you.
Okay. Did the bartender get hurt at all? That bout?
No, not even a
Okay.
little bit.
Right. Bastard's gonna walk over, and as he's walking over, he's just gonna like do a circle around his face, and you see a small halo appear over his head.
Okay.
And that lasts for like 6 seconds, I think, or like.
I really thought you were going with the John Cena for a second.
You can't see
You can't see
this.
me.
Can't smell what the rock is cooking. You walk over, casting a halo upon yourself as you do so, And that is where we're going to take a quick break, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We'll be back at 8:55 Eastern Standard Time. Don't go anywhere. We'll see what the heck happens with the rest of this House of the Plains
nowhere.
in
We're
just
so
a bit.
close.
Thanks again, everybody.
I'm so excited.
Welcome back, everybody, as we continue to explore the amazing house of the Plains. Now, I showed my players. I was able to get a picture of Cass. Some of these characters have actual art. Some of them don't. Cass Hamish does have actual art. Let me see if I can get this right.
First of all, yes, she does look like
Yeah.
the character Will was referencing.
So
What is the character's name again that you were referencing?
Asajj Ventress, Asajj, Ventris, I think. Or she is a character in the animated Clone Wars series for
Yes.
Star Wars, who is also, funnily enough, an assassin type character.
Mhm.
But yes, this very shaved head, very severe features, eye patch over one eye. You see, any of you, I think one of you had rolled a knowledge check about the Garrote Sisterhood, but you notice the stereotypical mark, that chain or wire around the neck, symbolizing the Garrote around her neck. Very intimidating presence, to say the least.
Yeah, she's scary.
For sure.
But she's just out having fun. So probably the best and only time you'd really want to interact with her. She motions for Bastro to join her after his bout as the bartender returns to his duties. She says, "Very good, very good. You know, you almost had him there, but he's a burly fellow."
Yeah. How tall is he actually? Like.
He's about 6'4".
Yeah, okay, he has,
6'4",
like, a good-
wall of muscle, 260. Like, dude
Yeah, I
is
thought I had
ripped.
him.
And that's why,
Thought I
like,
had
she's congratulating you, because, like, that guy was easily, what, about 8 inches taller than you, maybe?
He's like, I think I'm like 5'10" or so. So yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, like 8 inches taller than you and a good 60 pounds of muscle, 80 pounds of muscle on you. She was very impressed.
Jeez.
And the fact that you showed, like, you were able to keep your composure, that was the will check. You're able to keep your composure, not entirely embarrass yourself, fight it out despite taking the pain. She was like, yeah, this might be a guy I'm interested in talking to, at least to entertain myself for a little bit. And so she motions over for you to join her. You see another glass of wine that she pours from the bottle that a server brings her. So, what brings you to the House of the Plains? And what is your name?
Well, I'm Bastro Beltorin. Very nice to meet you.
Bastro.
Yes.
My
and
name is
this is Peter,
Cass.
my good friend here, and Bastro points to his bird familiar.
Peter. And she, like, reaches one hand up to your shoulder. It's very unnerving as she, like, almost, grazes your face on the way to pet Peter under the beak.
Gross.
Peter, interesting. You have a bird. I didn't notice him, but
Yeah, he wasn't in the fight, but
that's fun.
But I'm just here visiting the House of Plains because I've heard it's an interesting place to be, and Pharasma was kind enough to let me know that I was destined to come here. So
I suppose you were. Well, maybe next time you'll actually be able to beat him.
yeah, I almost had him in the first few seconds, but he's just so strong, Can't really match up to that.
Well, he is good at his job. I'll give him that. Yes, this place is full of interesting figures. Figures who are supposed to be here. What exactly? I mean, you can't have just come here because you were interested in having fun. That's not really how this place works.
Well, it's always nice to find information about the city, and what's a better place than a seedy underground club full of very interesting individuals.
I will give you that.
I've already met some people like I'm blanking on his name. Who was the dwarf again?
Willifrit.
That was set in Nez.
Amaset
Yeah.
Nez was the male dwarf in the last room.
Right.
Wait, did you
Willifrit-
meet Amaset? Or did you just meet
I mean,
Willifrit?
I heard his name.
Technically
and you told
didn't
me his
meet
name.
him, but yes. Ah,
But,
Amaset's.
They all have such
Interesting
interesting roles. I'm curious, what's your role in this club, and also what do you do? You know.
In this club, I'm just here to pass the time. I don't work for the facility now. But I'm friends with Jeremy, you might say. Or at least working acquaintances.
The big man himself, right? I've actually heard of some interesting things about you as well, but
Well,
I'm
have
hoping
you?
I'm hoping you're not practicing your trade right now. It seems like you're just relaxing with a glass of wine.
Well, I assure you that if I were, I wouldn't tell you.
No, fair enough. But I'm actually looking into a certain incident that's been happening in Absalon about people
Oh.
going missing randomly. I'm sure you have nothing to do with that, right?
Nothing is a strong statement. Especially when people going missing is perhaps something that I dabble in. I'm going to need you to be more specific.
Well,
Go ahead and roll me a diplomacy check with a
Yeah,
+2.
I'm so anxious right now.
I'm gonna hero point that.
Hey, first hero point of the night.
From a 6 to a 5. So that's a
Hey.
7.
What was the total?
7.
7?
Actually, it's diplomacy. I think I have a little higher.
What
Nope,
were you
it's 7.
rolling the first time?
What do you mean? What?
You said, I think
I
it's
forgot I was
diplomacy.
rolling. I forgot I was rolling a skill check. I'd have double checked if I had any points in it, but I do not. So it doesn't matter.
okay. I'm
It's a
going to need
solid
you to be
7.
a little more specific.
About the missing peoples. I guess it's people who are working on the pagoda, the dragonfly pagoda. Did you ever hear about that whole incident with the kobolds rising up against the other human workers?
Oh, I heard about it, yes, but I had nothing to do with it.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. It's a bunch of kobolds. I was there actually. I was
As
able to
someone who
handle-
definitely has something to do with it.
No, I mean, I heard that somebody. Well, you were there. Interesting. Yes, I heard that somebody had gone in there and negotiated some kind of agreement between the two parties.
Yeah, that was actually me and my team, and Master points
Mm.
to
Bastro! What
Worst
the
covert
heck?
person ever.
She gives the group. She gives the group
What's
a
wrong
little
with telling her
nod
that?
as Bastro points.
Ah!
The doctor's not looking, he's drinking.
The shockwaves.
Well, I would say that if
Sean
there
wasn't
are.
even there.
I know. He's not sure what's going on. He's just waving at people who are looking at him.
But I'm curious, if you're the one who was there, why are you asking me about it?
Well, it's because the only reason we went there to begin with was to find more information about these missing people. It's not the kobolds that made them go missing.
Hmm.
So, but I don't think the way you're acting right now, I don't think it was you or.
No, no. At least I don't believe so. I had nothing to do with anyone from the Minkai delegation, if that's what you're referencing.
Exactly. Yes, that is what I'm referencing. So that's good to know for now. Have you heard of anything maybe in your line of work, anything about these missing people? I mean, I'm sure you have connections.
Well, if there are people of importance who are going missing, surely it's the Red Mantis. They are the best at what they do.
Uh-oh. Have you heard?
Go ahead and roll a society.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Can any of the rest of us do that?
You are not part of the
Or-
conversation and therefore cannot.
That's
Okay.
a
The doctor
solid.
most certainly is not
So
listening.
we'll have to wait.
It's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20?
Yeah.
You have heard of the Red Mantis. They are essentially the world's most renowned
Yeah.
Assassin's Guild.
They're famous.
They are very famous. They operate over the entirety of Galarian. The members really don't hide themselves. They're exceptionally good at their work. So the actions that they do are not tied to them, but their reputation precedes them, if that makes sense. So like nothing can be by court of law, like of course there are outlier cases, but the vast majority of the assassinations they commit are not able to be directly tied to any of their specific members. Their members do go about in public wearing recognizable garb, that of almost like insectoid-like armor that is painted to look like red praying mantis,
Cool.
you know, themes. They also use a very specific weapon known as a sawtooth blade. It's like a sword or dagger with jagged edges cut into the blade. And they are like, again, they just go around in public in that armor with the recognition that brings, because they're good enough at their job that they aren't able to be tied to anything.
They don't get caught.
Yeah, now like sometimes that does bring, you know, an eye of suspicion or whatever, but like in most places where there's like a court of law, it's exceptionally difficult to prove anything because they're that good at their job. But she says, yes, the Red Mantis, I mean, with so many people descending upon Absalom, I'd be very surprised if they didn't have agents here waiting for people to just flood in and take care of all of their hits at once. They're smart. They're good.
I have another inquiry, actually. I heard about Princess Puddle's Royal Rumble. It kind of got disrupted near the end there. What's happening with that? You know, I heard it's like the Golden Hand or something had something to do with it. The metallic hand. I can't remember their name.
Something like that, I'm sure.
I mean, something has to be done about that, right? It must have been a little embarrassing having all of that money taken right underneath the sponsors' noses.
I'm sure Princess Puddles is quite embarrassed, you're right. I wonder if she will do anything about it.
Huh. So you don't seem to mind at all.
Not until it becomes my job.
Fair enough. Yeah, someone will have to take care of them eventually.
The Garrotes were already eliminated by the time it happened, right? She
Yeah,
kind of-
you would have remembered that Cass was gone by that time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She had no interest in the prize pool now that, like, she was fair and square eliminated. So
Yeah,
she doesn't
okay.
really care.
Like, her team was out, she had no claim on any of the
Stake.
money.
Yeah.
Like, she had paid in, but she had
She lost.
already lost her money.
She lost. Yeah.
So-
They had lost. Yeah.
So she was gone, she didn't care, she wasn't part of the group that got hit by the explosion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do wonder if she was corroborating with them. Maybe she's getting a cut, but that would be
possibility.
Let me ask her right to her face now.
Way
But,
that conversation was going.
And she was coy about the copper hand. She was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
anything
she was
about
like, I'll deal with it if I have to, basically.
yeah.
Fine. I have one last question. I keep hearing about this new spot because I'm scared of disappearing myself. You know, I don't want to be disappeared. So I heard about this place called the Dreaming Palace. You think it's a good place to stop by maybe for a few days if I'm feeling a little weary? I don't know if you've heard of it or not.
Go ahead and roll another diplomacy check.
Oh,
Take a -2.
nice.
She doesn't like you anymore.
Nope.
What are these rolls? I got a 6, which turns it into a 4.
I haven't heard of the Dreaming Palace. Is that a new bar?
It's a new inn, I've been told. I just don't know if it's credibility yet. But if you haven't heard of it, then it's
It
fine.
must not be that great then.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it was very nice meeting you, and I hope
Likewise.
I hope someone's able to take down that burly bartender of yours. And
I hope you get them next time.
maybe we'll see. And Bastard just gets up and walks back to the party and tells them everything basically.
You said what?
I just gave her. Our
You
name,
all watch
my
him
name.
talking to her and then point at you individually.
I was just.
Twinkle
I mean,
toes,
she
what a
probably.
man.
I don't see much of a problem with that. We've already made
Yeah,
ourselves
I know.
clearly
We walked in
alive.
together. Like it's not hard to
We walked together. We walked into every room together and left together. Like people know we are a group, but I don't know about telling us.
No, just the whole. Oh yeah, we were there.
Yeah, telling people we were at the Cobalt thing.
You are the people that handled the Minkayan situation. We're looking for missing people. You wouldn't have to do anything with that, would you?
Well, did you say that we were the people who solved the problem? Did you mention that, or did you say we were there?
I think I did. I told her that we solved the problem. I think.
Oh my god.
That could get a little awkward.
I mean, she had nothing to do with it, but this Red Mantis group.
She said she has nothing to do with it. You never once at any point rolled a sense motive.
Bastro's a very trusting person. I don't know what you want from me.
I mean, if she really does have this very specific skill set, I don't see what she would have been involved with this.
Yeah, it's not like these missing people. Like these people are missing. They're not dead with like wire marks on their throats.
Which is just
They
to say,
are
like,
missing,
if they
so
are,
could very well be dead with
They could be
wire.
dead.
my point is, if
Right.
she does end up being involved, it would be via a connection that we don't have the middle part.
Yeah.
Is my point.
I am curious that like she doesn't care about the whole copper hands. Like I'm sure aren't the sponsors like don't they pay for the winnings of the tournament? Like don't they have a part like?
Well, but again, her team had been fair and square eliminated,
she was kicked out.
The only people
has
who
no
have
stake.
claim, the only people who have claim to the prize money
But
would be
all these
our
people
team.
work for Jeremy Hoff, I feel like, and
They
I feel
don't
like
work
he would
for
be-
him. They are like friends of his.
Yeah, they work
When
alongside
Rabbit
him.
does.
Which
Yeah.
it seems like we can potentially name drop because both of the last two people that we've interacted with have mentioned him by name.
Yeah, I was
So
scared of name dropping him.
I don't think we need to be afraid of saying his name.
But I think name dropping him implies a certain level of connection to the underground scene that we may not want to arouse. If we keep playing this like card of we're these up and comers, like we're just like getting involved, it might arouse less suspicion than like we know things
That's fair. That's
that
fair.
we shouldn't know.
And
that
the
draws
Griffin,
suspicion.
the dwarf who was handling the Griffin said that Jeremy Hoff to liven up the place. I just assumed that meant that he was like the boss of the place or something. I don't know.
Being at the
Yeah,
top
he
of planes
owns
implies
Well, so
Jeremy-
these people do work for him.
Jeremy
Yeah,
demonstrably owns this establishment. That is
yes, if
something
you're
we should know.
here, you must know who he is. But again, I don't think we should be like tossing his name around as somebody we've interacted with, seen, etc. Just the fewer personal details we can arouse about us, the better, and the less impression that we can give that we are knowledgeable or talented, also the better.
The
Well-
less attention we can bring to ourselves and our past and our
Yes,
connections.
all that.
Okay,
And
I
our
won't point
names
ourselves
and
out
what
next
we
time.
do.
Not that Kashak is all that worried about it. Nobody even really knows where he's from or who he is. He's
Yeah,
been
it's
in
not like
Absalom.
you were at the Dragon.
Been in Absalom for like 2 weeks, and he has no clue what you're talking about. Like he was not at the Dragonfly Pagoda. He was not there. So his traceability is very little as it is, but other people's might be different.
Fair.
Well, speaking of Kashak,
Speaking
Yeah,
of,
I think it's time to go to heaven.
heaven time.
Time to go to heaven.
someone may have to like nudge the doctor. He is full on like coping unhealthily right now.
Twinkle Toes takes his hand and leaves him. Just like this.
Yeah, because the doctor will be like, oh, are we going? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Back to heaven.
Yes,
Okay.
let's go.
Kashak will,
Oh.
as we're like starting to leave, he'll kind of tug Bastro's shirt and say, Bastro, if I might ask, I'm not. What is heaven?
What is heaven? People interpret heaven in different ways. For some people, heaven is like a freshly baked pie. Other people, heaven is like laying down after a hard day at work. It's whatever makes you feel calm and tranquil on the inside. Whenever you're feeling it. When do you feel that, Kashak?
When do I feel calm? I suppose I feel most calm when I scout ahead of something and there's nothing in front of me. When it's just an open field. No
See,
trees, no obstructions. I can see everything, and everything's okay.
Well, there you go. You just answered your own question.
Wow. That's nice.
That was actually
That's not
really
at all
good.
what it's gonna be like.
I'd like to give
Bastro.
Bastro a hero point for that explanation.
Hey!
Oh!
Really good.
That was really
Cool. Bastro may blow our cover entirely, but he's really sweet.
He's a nice
Really
boy.
great.
He's a nice
Great friend.
There's
He's an
only
amazing
good
friend.
Bastro.
good. Worst teammate, amazing. friend.
Terrible investigator. Terrible interrogation officer. Really good friend.
You all head out of Nirvana and make a right to the door again, immediately to your right. This time you turn the corner into the archway to see the walls of this well-lit room, which are painted with blue skies and bright, fluffy clouds, except for the wall behind the bar. The wall behind the bar being the farthest wall from you, which portrays an enormous mountain. Waitstaff drift between the tables, wearing revealing white robes and fake feathered wings. A 1-foot-high round stone pedestal stands in the far left corner. And as you enter, you watch as a woman stands upon it.
Is it Princess Puddles? Please be Princess.
It's not. It is a gnomish woman who takes a step up, a rather large step for her, up onto the stone. The bartender behind the bar at the far end of the room says, "I, the celestial judge, will now deem you to be worthy.
Is that-
Confess your sins and accept your penance." She wrings her hands, nervously looking back and forth across the crowd that is now eagerly anticipating something from her. She says, I might have at one point in my life murdered my husband's dog as he was nipping and destroying my household that I'd worked so hard to clean and maintain. And he was just a nuisance and a hellhound and he was the bane of my existence. And she breaks down as she gives her testimony. The bartender once says, "You have been judged to be truthful in your accusation. May you step down and accept your penance." And a round of cheers goes off as the crowd applauds her bravery and her honesty. The bartender brings forth a silver chalice that he pulls from a high up shelf, pouring in some translucent liquid that he then hands to her, and she takes her, quote, penance for her crimes.
Do you think it's poisoned? I say to Bastro.
Hard to tell. We'll see if she dies.
Yeah. Better just wait and see.
Who's got the highest perception bonus?
I think I
I
do.
think the
I think you have
doctor,
doctor.
yeah.
What is your
Oh,
perception bonus?
plus 8, but I'm pretty sure his is plus 9.
I'm plus 9.
What's,
So
okay.
I'd be fine with conditional subtractions for his current state.
You haven't failed a check yet, so
Okay.
You're holding your own.
you are just putting it down and not feeling anything yet, which might lead you to putting more down. I don't know. You see that at the closest table to the pedestal, there is a man, human male, with greasy, slicked back black hair, with a little notepad that, as the woman was speaking, he seemed to be furiously taking notes, looking back and forth between his notepad and the woman on the pedestal. He appears to be
Okay.
a bit more affluent than the average patron you see. Like, the suit is very well tailored. It is made of a fine cloth. It's like almost, it's that like distinction between like just under tuxedo, where it's just like very fine black suit, very nice linen shirt. You see glasses that appear to be made of gold. Jewelry and wristbands. Seems very well off. Seems to be a powerful person. And again, taking meticulous notes about the woman who is standing on the pedestal as she gives her testimony.
What race is this gentleman?
Human.
I think since this is supposedly Kashak's challenge, the doctor's gonna like whisper to Kashak, and he's just gonna say, "Kashak, you might want to be careful about what you say. It appears someone is recording everyone's quote-unquote sins and crimes." And I think the doctor will go to the bar and order 2 drinks, and then go sit with that man.
Trying to
Okay.
oil the squeaky wheel, I see.
There is a bit of a line, so if nothing else happens, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
However,
that's
there
fine.
is
That's what the doctor's doing. in
a
this room.
plentitude of time for Kashak to accept his challenge should he choose to do so.
Totally. Yeah. Kashak sees this woman speak her piece and then goes to wherever it is that he needs to go.
Twinkle
So-
Toes is gonna like stay with him and like, you know, like be like, it's okay, you can do this. Just sort of like, you know,
Moral
not
support.
leaving him by himself in this.
He's stone-faced. He is like expressionless, staring at the woman who is like asking for information or like asking for the penance. He doesn't really react to any of you interacting with him, but he is just like lasered in, mouth closed, no smile, no frown, nothing at all.
Okay, so
Twinkle Toes is your tiny
as you
black
step up to this, it's about 2 feet off of the ground. It is just a simple, like marble circle. It looks like it could have been a column at one point, but it's just been flatly carved off to be this kind of pillar before you, very, very low to the ground. Once more, as you step up to it, the bartender turns to you and says, "I, the Celestial Judge, will hear your sins. Step forth and receive your penance."
Do we recognize the Celestial Judge?
No. As far as you're concerned, it just
Okay.
appears to be the role of the bartender in this room.
Okay.
He will step onto the marble dais.
Okay.
Does that create any kind of like height disparity? It's
Uh,
like 2 feet.
It's like 2 feet up, but I'd like you to go ahead and roll me a will save.
Sure.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, is this gonna be a zone of truth? Yeah.
16.
16.
16.
16 is unfortunately not enough to pass.
Okay.
So you are under the effects of a Zone of Truth spell. You find it exceptionally difficult to lie. You have been asked to speak your sin, whatever that might be, according to Kashak.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot speak any deliberate or intentional lies.
Okay.
But you, again, you have been clearly asked to state a sin. You cannot speak any deliberate or intentional lies. Anything else that you might try to say to get around the truth, not speaking is clearly not an option. And anything that you might say to get around the truth will be done at a penalty.
Kashak kind of feels this compulsion as he steps onto the dais, and he feels the immense weight of her question as well, and he looks down at the ground for a moment. My sin was a great betrayal
of my clan. I betrayed the trust of my brothers. I betrayed the directives of my leader, the Scaled Shaman. I betrayed the very oaths that we swore. I will not lie to you, lady. I feel wronged as well. I was put in an impossible situation, and I feel as though I acted honorably and nobly. But my sin was not to act correctly. My sin was that I betrayed those I swore to protect. I will never know if I was meant to hurt those creatures alongside my brothers. I will never know if I was meant to do the wrong to preserve my people. But I do know that turning my back on them and raising a clawed fist to my brother is my greatest sin.
The bartender looks up towards you. I, the Celestial Judge, have deemed your words to be truthful. Step down and receive your penance. Once more, she pulls the silver goblet, filling it with this translucent liquid, and holds it out towards you.
He takes it in two hands, two clawed, scaled hands. He sniffs it, and he drinks like a small sip.
I'd like you to go ahead and roll me a fortitude save.
Oh boy.
23.
23. Feel all right. Your cold-blooded nature is keeping you hale and hearty in this time of distress.
Okay.
As you
Does he feel like he wants to drink more?
No.
Or does he feel like he shouldn't do that?
No, you took your quote penance.
Okay.
I mean, it's like maybe 2 shots in this like goblet's worth, so it's not like a big drink.
Okay. All right.
It's just you took your penance. Your penance was the drink, the alcohol. And as you're doing so, once again you notice this man sitting there, judging, writing, taking furious notes. But as you finish your, again, quote, penance, he looks up towards you. As Dr. Forsyth is sitting down next to him and paying no mind to Dr. Forsyth, he says, "My good friend, I have not seen a man as yourself, and your story has moved me. I would appreciate a bit of your time, that I might understand where you have been and where you might be going."
Of course. And he walks
Please,
over to
join
him and,
me, please.
He'll do so.
By the way, the doctor
Twinkle
sat
toes
down
will fall too. Follow.
and placed this drink down in front of this guy and pulled out like his own notepad.
The man
sir.
has literally not even seemed to notice you.
That's just what the
Um,
doctor. Yeah.
Doc feels a little bit like he's in a job interview.
Did Forsyth take a drink at all?
Of the chalice, no. He just
not of
went
the chalice,
and ordered
of your own.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and roll me a fortitude save at a -2.
-2. Okay. That's a 17.
17. Dr. Forsyth is powering through right now. You're fine. Next one's gonna be at a -4.
All right. They're stacking.
Apparently Forsyth is just a tank. I don't know.
Well, this must be a load.
Nothing's shaking him tonight. It's all he can think is boneyard, boneyard, boneyard.
Yeah.
Well, when you're a doctor in Absalom, you have to take all the drugs that you prescribe to patients. You have to make sure that you
part
can
of your
survive
licensure.
them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's an experienced substance user.
So, Kashak, this human man, gestures you over for conversation. Again, still just furiously writing in his little notebook. If you take a seat, he will turn to you and say, again, just back to Forsyth at this point, on these circular tables, not paying any heed. He will say, "It's a pleasure to meet you, my friend. I am Reginald Venkaskerkin, and I am the owner and a writer for The Eyes on Absalom, one of the most well-renowned tabloids of this city."
Oh, I don't like that.
Reginald Velter Skelton? What?
Help
Van Kaskerkin. VANCASKERKIN. I had to read this 12 times to figure out what the heck it was saying.
Not just Reginald Van Kaskerkin.
Reginald Van Kaskerkin.
Okay.
Is he Norwegian? Anyway.
Yes.
A
Clearly
tabloid.
didn't hear his name.
Owner and writer for Eyes on Absalom, one of Absalom's finest tabloids. And I must say, it is a rare opportunity to meet a person such as yourself. Please tell me, where have you come from?
Twinkle Toes also walked up to this table and is like eye level with the rim of it, I imagine, but is there.
Yeah.
Reginald, my name is Kashak. I am currently known as Kashak the Black Scale.
Shock the Black Scale, okay.
And Kashak will kind of shoot a glance at. Well, I guess he'll ask,
If you don't mind me asking my own question, what exactly is a tabloid?
Oh, well,
and that's a genuine. He has no idea what he's talking about.
I and my employees write about everything that goes on in Absalom, from the highest of legal precedent to the daily lives of the folk who live here. We write about and inform the populace of the goings-on of the city.
Oh, so you must know everything that goes on around here.
I wish I did, my fair lady, but I only know about what I can get my hands on.
As he talks about this, sorry to kind of jump in there, but as he talks about this, Kashak will shoot a look at the doctor and in like a, what should I do here? Like, do I?
The doctor wants to roll a sense motive on this guy to see if he's being genuine about like just wanting to get to know Kashak because he's such an interesting story, like, or if there's an angle.
Sure. +9.
+9, yes.
It's, I mean, to the best of your ability, or knowledge, I would say, and based on where you're at, it seems like this guy is like a rumor monger, and he's, rubbing elbows with people who know stuff about what's going on in Absalom. Like what's actually going on in Absalom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if telling this guy truthful information about me is dangerous to the rest of us.
I think
so. It genuinely seems like whether or not he writes about it, like he probably trades in information.
Right.
That doesn't mean like everything he knows goes into what he writes, but
nor does it mean that everything he writes is completely truthful.
Yeah.
I've never heard the
that's
phrase
a different
rubbing
story,
elbows.
right?
I think we should be approaching this as like turn the interviewer into the interview.
Yeah, I think the
Agreed.
doctor will shoot Kashak like a quick like intense-eyed stare of like use caution.
Yeah. And he asked me what my story is and where I come from, right?
I feel like Twinkletoes, you interjected.
I did.
What was it you were saying?
I would say, well, I asked him. I was like, "Oh, so you must know everything that's going on around the city."
Only what I can get my hands on.
Yeah. So, have you, if you don't mind me asking, have you heard anything about some people going missing who aren't originally from here, like people who've been coming in and then just who's gone?
People going missing, you say? And he like
Yeah.
physically turns from Kashak around to Twinkletoes, begins writing again, like flips a page, begins writing again. People going missing, you say? Oh my goodness, and they're not from Absalom. That is interesting indeed. What exactly have you heard?
That's it. That's everything I've heard. Have you heard anything?
This is the first time hearing about it, but I can't imagine that it would be anything other than, oh, well, let's see, if there are people going missing, they're not from Absalom, there's a connection there, it must be a serial killer.
No,
I think we have a
murder.
serial
I
killer
wanna-
on the loose in Absalom.
I wanna-
My
I wanna
goodness,
sense
this would be a
motive.
fantastic story.
I want to sense motive so hard. So hard, I want to sense motive on what he's saying.
do we even need to, or is this guy clearly just a nut job?
I mean, he might be a nut job, but I want to sense motive that.
He latched on to new information that Twinkle Toes was stating, and is now trying to pry for more.
I literally didn't state information. I asked him if he knew anything.
You stated information in your question.
Technically, state information.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's just the Daily Inquirer. Like he's gonna
Yeah.
take whatever you say and turn it into a
You
scandal.
said
Yeah.
things, and he's running
Yeah.
off of that.
Exactly.
We want to talk to this guy as little as possible.
And I think Kashak will kind of like see that he is this like snake oil salesman of information. I think he's seen at least a little bit of that in the city, and at least a little bit of that on his travels.
And
But he's
probably
gonna
a
kind of
legitimate snake oil salesman.
Kashak's gonna let this kind of play out. He's gonna hopefully like see if this guy runs himself ragged on Twinkle Toes.
That's quite interesting. I mean, I know you said you didn't know anything else, but I mean, do you think it could be a serial killer? I mean, they're all not from Absalom, and I mean, have they all been recently? What do you know?
I think it might have something more to do with, extorting people who are coming
Extorting
in.
people. Well, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to extort people if you want to get money from them to kill them. I mean, then you would never get the money from them. It must be
Well,
a serial killer.
I don't know if they're dead though. I don't know if they've been killed because you see, no bodies have been. We haven't.
Right,
heard
but if they're
anything about
missing, they can't
bodies
really
being
make
up.
money. I mean, in order to make money, you must be seen by somebody, so it
Not
wouldn't make sense.
necessarily. I mean, there are all sorts of other ways that people could go missing other than just being turned up dead. But
I suppose. I mean, regardless, this would be a very
but you
interesting
haven't heard
story for my
anything.
readers.
Well, we'll keep asking around elsewhere, I guess. That's too bad.
Well, I hope you find what you're looking for. If you have anything else that you know about, please let me know. My readers would be very interested. It seems you all, and he turns back to Kashak, are very in the know. I'd love to talk to you more.
Well, where can we find you so we can come find you and talk to you some other time?
Oh, I'm around. Don't you worry about me. If anything interesting is happening in Absalom, I'll be there.
But you just said you wanted to talk to us more, so how do we find you?
If you're at anything interesting happening, I'll be there.
I like 0% of what's going on right now, both as a
All right.
player and as a person. I
Well-
hate this so much. This guy gives me the creeps 10,000 times over. I
Well,
hate this guy.
Sir Reginald Van Kaskerken, it was lovely to meet you. Goodbye.
And what
Bastard's
was your
gonna-
name, by the way?
Z, bye.
Z. Very
Oh,
interesting.
Jesus, I can't
Z.
give it a real
And he's like
name.
again, just writing in his notebook at a breakneck pace.
Bastard's gonna peep up. He's just been like in the back.
Oh no! The doctor shuts Bastro up and he
No.
pushes Bastro away.
He's drunk. Go away. No.
Yeah,
I-
and he's gonna say,
seriously.
Bastro, come to the bar and drink with me.
I have
We're
a
not
genuine-
talking about anything
No,
here.
I have a genuine question.
That's what scares me, Bastro.
Don't worry, doctor, don't worry. Here, it's simple. Watch. And Bastard's gonna turn back to this guy and he's gonna ask, "Hey, does your tablet ever run reviews on certain businesses?"
Reviews on businesses. Well, I can't say that's something I've gotten into before, but if you think there's anything worth knowing, I'd be very happy to.
Yeah, I know. It's just I've heard
try.
about this new inn called the Dreaming Palace. I don't know if you know, but
The
I heard it's
Dreaming
pretty
Palace.
correct.
Dreaming Palace. Dreaming Palace. No, I don't think I know anything about it.
All right, I was just
Particular.
asking. I don't know.
What type of establishment is it?
I've heard it's an inn. You know, I've been curious.
No,
Is it-
I think they do chicken fights there.
Dreaming
Let's
Palace.
it's nice meeting you. Yes,
Chicken
goodbye.
fights. It does seem very interesting combination of business ideas.
Yes,
Perhaps it's
I-
worth
I
checking out.
heard that was a children's play space.
Children's
Palace.
play space.
Oh yes, they dress the children up
I
as
can't
chickens
imagine
so they
chicken
can- they get
fights
hurt when
and
they wrestle.
children working well together. But hey,
No.
if it's working for them, I'll check it out.
I heard it's a
think
place for
there's been
chicken children.
Chicken.
I think there's been a confusion
Aren't
of
those
what
just
this
called
place
chicks?
really is.
Kashak?
I'm not from here.
No, I don't.
All right,
I haven't
well,
heard of the Dreaming
Sir-
Palace, but I will definitely
Sir
check it
Reginald,
out. Yes, Z.
it was lovely to meet you.
And you, Z.
Goodbye.
Oh,
Let's go. And
don't be like that.
The doctor takes the drink he bought this guy and drinks it himself.
He hasn't
That's
taken his
normal.
hand off his pencil or his.
Yeah, his,
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kashak will look at Twinkle Toes, then look at the doctor, and do his best impression of an Avastani wink, which is just him closing both of his eyes for 2 seconds and then opening them again. And then he will turn back, like as he's kind of getting up, he'll like put a hand on the table in front of Reginald.
By the way, you asked me how I came to be in Absalom.
I did in fact.
I was brought here by slave traders from Katapesh.
Oh. Well, that is certainly an interesting story. Would you mind telling me more?
Those who think the slave trade of Absalom is gone are wrong.
Oh, very wrong indeed, apparently.
You may want to investigate anything going on with slave trading in Absalom. I think it might prove fruitful for you.
Absalom. Very fruitful. Must investigate.
And then
Yes.
he will just leave.
I think Bastard's gonna run up to Kashak and kind of like look at him weirdly and like, Kashak, we're investigating missing people, and you just informed us that you know of a slave trading network in Absalom. Don't you think those two things would correlate just a little bit? You know?
Well, I was brought
That's
here.
kind of like a little like upset.
Listen, listen.
like,
Bastro. I was captured by slavers in Katapesh. Was I brought to Absalom by those slave traders? Not necessarily.
It's a wild goose chase.
Not necessarily is perhaps one of the best non-answers I've ever heard.
Bastard's just gonna look at the doctor and then at Twinkle Toes and then back at.
It can be best to have snakes following your trail. Follow a different trail for some time.
Well, do you know of anything about these slave traders, where they might be located or something like that?
Desmond was able to rescue me from the slave trader's ship. I have no idea where I was bound for.
I see. Okay, I see what
Desmond
you're
is
saying.
the one who brought me to Absalom. So once again, was I captured by slave traders in Katapesh? Yes. Are there slave traders from Katapesh and Absalom?
I will admit
Probably.
that I was
probably
captured
not.
by slave traders in Katapesh. However,
Good
I
God.
did not have slave trade relations with that city.
Hey, Will.
yes.
Axis is still the most like empty room,
Yes.
right? I think we should really quick reconvene in Axis to discuss all of the what else we need to do here.
There are also
agree.
4 other rooms that you have unexplored.
Yeah,
Right. But like, I don't want to.
Let's
Are we
move
just
up
gonna-
there and then
Yeah,
go.
are we just gonna
Yeah.
wander into like the rooms, or
I mean, we can. Why not?
because we have truthfully found no information about these missing people?
Well, we found a few things. A few leads. Palace, Red Mantis, slave trading apparently.
the Dreaming Palace.
So I mean, we have a few leads. I feel like we should. There might be that we can later on
Your mic
explore.
cut out
Your
really.
mic is cutting out a
unfortunately
bunch.
Oh,
What'd you
really?
say?
How about now? Can you still hear me?
there. Yeah. What did you say?
Oh yeah, I was saying we should visit the other room. Gotten a few leads already, so like get more, before we have to leave.
But I do agree with grouping up for now, kind of narrowing our focus, and then going into those rooms with a maybe greater unity of vision. Kind of a halfway check, right? Like a halfway.
Yeah. So the doctor says this and then just starts walking back to Axis, and he'll sit at like an empty table in the corner.
Yeah, Kashak will go right behind him.
Yeah, I'll follow.
As will Twinkle Toes and
You
Bastro.
walk back into Axis to find Willifred slumped across the bar table. At this point, a quarter of a bottle of gin in her hand as she is now passed out at the bar.
The doctor just takes it from her hand and brings it to the table.
Doctor, are you doing all right? That's like your 9th one tonight.
Twinkletoes, I've committed an anathema to my order twice in the last 12 hours and had an unsettling vision of my impending demise, and I was right near a place where I am wanted, my soul is wanted to be removed from my current body. So I have had the worst day of my life, and he upturns.
And it's only noon, by the way.
Yeah. He literally will upturn the djinn.
Go ahead and roll me a fortitude save at -4.
-4? Okay, so it's an effective +1. Natural 19, I kid you not.
You're
God.
fine. You're fine.
Ow!
You're fine.
Well, you seem to be handling it well, Doc. Please pour me a drink. I love this room. All free.
He'll sit down and just say, "We have learned next to nothing about these missing people. We may need a new approach to our questions in the remaining places in this bar, this place, club."
Do you think that we need to refine our questions or just refine who we're questioning? Seems as
I
though the
don't
people
know.
we keep talking to have no connections to what we want.
I
Well, this-
wouldn't say that. I didn't think that, Sir Venkaskerkin,
He was scum and should not be dealt with in the future.
Yeah, I hated him quite a bit. Cass, was
Cass was
terrifying.
nice. She was nice.
No, she was terrifying, and you probably shared a bit too much with her, but...
Cass may prove useful in the future, however, I don't think she knows much about the missing people. Again,
Unless she
as
is
Bastro
the
mentioned.
one who caused the missing people, which I'm not convinced she's not.
agreed, but she seems to be more interested in murder than missing people. What benefit would she gain from missing people?
I mean, she could have murdered said missing people.
True, but I think the point Kashak may be driving home is that she's not the one behind it. She may be a pawn in the game.
I think she might be the one. She might be somebody who is disposing of.
She might be doing it
I
or
agree.
disappearing, but why
agree.
they are disappearing is still unknown. But that could still be useful. Like if we figure out who she, like the mechanics of what she's doing to make them disappear, that could lead to something.
Yeah.
I think, Sleepy Lady over here actually might be of some use to us with her.
I agree. I agree. That I think there's more to who she is and what she does that we didn't necessarily get. This Dreaming Palace is definitely something to keep on our radar.
Absolutely. If we can learn more about Hendrid or Pratchett from the Dreaming Palace too.
That's maybe not a bad idea. All right, let's keep going to these next rooms. I'll do the talking, he says, as he upturns the bottle of vinegar.
Christ.
Go ahead and roll me another
I
fortitude save.
will help you.
Another fortitude save that quick?
Yep.
Okay. Yikes.
He took another swig of liquor. So
Yeah, you are pulling shots from a bottle of gin. So
It's a natural 17.
you're fine.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
One more thing.
You're at a -6 now for your next roll, by the way.
Okay.
Since we're all taking these various challenges, and they don't seem to be overly difficult, might we try the Boneyard Challenge?
I was
You say
considering
overly
it-
difficult as Bastro rubs the burn marks on his back.
Since we were all immensely successful in our challenges and no one failed one at all,
Bastro just.
I am pretty capable at holding my breath, and I feel as though being buried alive might not be much of a trouble for me.
Kashak, I would certainly be willing to come with you, but I think maybe the Doctor and Bastro could go to a different room while we do that.
Oh, we're splitting up now.
This might be a good idea.
yeah, I don't think there's really a reason to stick around altogether.
I don't think we're in danger in here like immediately. So I think we're fine splitting up.
All right.
Shock wants to take the Boneyard Challenge.
Kashak is going to the boneyard. Who else is doing what?
I guess me and the doctor are going to a different room.
We'll just pick the next closest room we haven't gone to.
Right, yeah. That's fine with me.
So the room directly to your south, opposite of you, is going to be the abyss.
Oh,
Okay.
Like across the boneyard is going to be the abyss.
That's going to be a shift.
Yeah, we've been to all these like super nice like.
Well,
Like,
so I'm
light
pretty
hearted
sure the mechanic is that they're tied to our alignments.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
none of us are chaotic evil like the Abyss. So
Neither one of us are either one of those things.
yeah.
I'm chaotic.
Well,
but-
I
Are you?
think Twinkle's
Okay.
chaotic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So who's doing what?
me
Kashak
and
is going to the
Scott.
boneyard to attempt the
Two-
boneyard challenge.
2 parties here.
Twinkle Toes is coming with Kashak, and I think are you guys just going to the Abyss? Like, screw
Yeah.
it? Why not? Yeah.
Twinkletoes is
Closest one.
going to the abyss with
we
Kashak.
like peek into the Abyss to make sure it's not, like, really bad? I don't know.
Never know. Xavier and Bastro are going to the abyss.
Kashak will kind of, like, see that you're going into, like, you guys tell him you're going to the Abyss, and he'll kind of pull both your shoulders.
If there's any danger in there whatsoever, leave immediately and come find Twinkletoes. Again, I think I can handle this challenge on my own, but leaving only 2 of you inside any danger gives me pause.
Don't worry, I've got my best weapon right here. And he holds up the bottle of gin.
I got my best weapons right here. Bastard does the fisticuffs.
So, you all part ways at the entranceway to Axis as Kashak and Twinkletoes head towards the open sarcophagus that Layla is currently using as a pseudo torture device to bury people alive. And Forsyth and Bastro head towards the opposite archway, towards the unknown abyss. That is where we are going to end it for tonight.
Wow.
Ayo!
Thank you all so much for joining us for episode 22 of Heroes of Absalom, brought to you by Three Kobolds Gaming. Again, I really appreciate all of you. We all really appreciate all of you who have helped us
Yes.
get affiliate status with Twitch. If you know anybody who might be interested in watching some nerds play some nerd stuff, please let them know. It helps us out a lot. Please subscribe and or follow our Twitch channel, and also check out our Instagram and our Twitter for some behind the scenes artwork brought to you by none other than Daniel himself. Check us out on all the social media. Everything is
Concept
linked.
art.
Again, thank you so much. You all have a good night, and we'll see you next week back here for the next episode.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh,
Adios.
bye. Yes.